Hopefully this works because these stitches are very tiny and I do not want to rip them out. Sounds like the needle is going to break. I'm finishing up with a few last bits for this top that I did. Cut the sleeves off, and I keep practicing attaching different types of sleeves, and this is really fun actually. It's really fun on. I added a little elastic band here for the arm piece, and on the inside I need to kind of like fix this part, kind of I guess like finish it so it feels more comfortable and looks better on the inside, but that's that. I covered these buttons with fabric, not very well, but they still look kind of cool. I don't think I can actually use them as to button, but it can just like be that, can be the look of it. Hopefully, we'll see. And then at the bottom, I did crop it a bit more, but I want to actually add back on some pieces here. So I'm not exactly sure how it will go on, but I have 4 of these, and so it kind of like be like sort of the scalloped loop around the edge. So I'm gonna see what I can do with it. I've got 4 of these, so I'm gonna see if I can attach it, pre-attach it to see how I want to attach it. So basically what I did was I tried to pin the centers first, and then I attached the edges together. So this area here, I'll put a gathering stitch and then pull it all together until it all matches around. So that's gonna be the goal. So I had to pull out my sewing book to see what kind of stitch I wanted, because this is stretch fabric connecting to not stretch fabric. I want a stretch stitch. So we're working on the stretch straight stitch, and to put it together with a straight stitch. So I put all of my functions correctly, boom, 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 and so hopefully it will give a little stretch and not pop the threads. Basically, is the goal. So what I'm noticing so far is it's going a lot slower, and you can kind of see I'm trying to keep it straight. I did a couple of gathers, but I'm not sure if it's going to be the correct stitch for this yet. Yeah, first time using this stretch stitch, so who knows? Maybe we're gonna have to tear it out, but I'm gonna see let's see how it goes. Okay. So, right. Sounds like the needle is going to break. I don't think it's moving forward. Let's see. Maybe this is just how it goes. All right, I'm gonna clip this and see what we have. We might have to go back over it, unfortunately. I mean, it's not bad. I think it's just going over kind of a thick can't paint today. It is the week before my period, and I cannot think before that. And the kids are home all day. Okay. What am I doing? Going through the pleats. I'm gonna jump over it and then I'll come back to it. Let's see. I think that's gonna work okay. It's just gonna have to find a way to cover this piece. Trying to pull it through just lightly. Try not to break the needle. My God. All right, we can do this. This is literally how sewing is for me because I don't research all the time. All right, there we go. Now we go. We made it over it. Okay, we made it over the hump. Okay, so I did finish it, and let's pull this up. You can see it worked pretty well. Actually, it was relatively even except for gathers were too gathery right here, and it looked a bit bumpy in this corner, not as flat as some of the other sides. And then of course I kind of came out of this one here a bit, and I wanted to finish this a little bit cleaner because, you know, I really didn't put a plan into it to start with, like how that would look, but because there's so much drama, I was thinking of like edging it with like black fabric, but I don't have that right now. And so I was wondering if I could, as you can see in the front where I kind of was like doing that, folding it over once and then just kind of sewing along that line there so that it's like a clean finish. Well, relatively clean knowing my sewing, but you know, you got it. But it is a lot of drama, so I'm gonna go with something simple and just finish it out and see how it looks. Am I going to fix the other part where it bunches? Not yet. I'm gonna see if rolling it over will have any kind of impact on it, and then we'll go from there. I honestly think that made it worse. It's just real bunchy. You know, you have like this idea of what you want and you try it, but you know, you don't have all the skills necessary yet. I do like the idea. However, I feel like, unfortunately for me, I'm going to have to tear this out. Again, it's pretty tricky. It is pretty tricky to sew non-stretch fabric to stretch fabric, but like you can see the sleeves are pretty amazing. And this, before I like sewed it around the top, actually looked pretty good, but it's not sort of sitting like I wanted. It looks a little too bunchy and not right. So there's that. I don't know. Pivot for the what? How many times have we pivoted? 1,000 times. So yeah, that's where we're at currently. All right. Hi. It's been like 2 weeks later because, because we had Easter break. The kids were here all week, all day. I would plan some outings, but ended up having everyone get sick with a stomach bug. So that was 2 weeks of stomach bug. Hit one kid, then hit the next two kids the next week when I was like, okay, we're going to go out and do more stuff. So we're about to start back to school and literally done nothing. And now I'm overthinking everything and the process and getting all in my head about it. So I figured the best thing to do, because my husband has taken the children out in this gorgeous, beautiful spring weather, and I am going to start ripping out this bottom piece and just like dive back into the process of filming, sewing, etc. because I'm feeling a little bit in my head because it's been a weird non-structural a couple of weeks and I'm just like feeling quite off um, with the creative process. So we're just going to start here and see what we can get up to and just dive in and start thrashing around. So, that's how I get into a pool when it's cold. It's like I have to just jump in and start thrashing around vigorously to warm up. So that's what we're going to do here. Jump in the pool of creativity. We're going to jump in the pool of creativity and start thrashing the fuck around and see what happens. But I showed you guys before we left how this did not really turn out right. It didn't work. So we're going to rip it out and we're going to see what we can do. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. I don't really have a fix topmost in my mind, unfortunately. So I just have to kind of just start, just jump in, just start thrashing and see what happens. Just start thrashing, see what happens. Just start thrashing, see what happens. Okay, so that's what we're gonna do now. It's just like there's a line, there's a line between. Let's get this started first. There's a line between, imperfection and then just that looks like shit. You know what I mean? And I'm trying to figure out the balance between those two things. Because sometimes it's hard to tell. It's not hard to tell when it's really shitty, but it's hard to tell whenever sometimes like you're overthinking a process, but sometimes it's just obvious. This is obvious. This just looks crap. So we're gonna start over. All right, I think I'm going to pause this video and just pick it out. I don't know. See, I'm overthinking again. I'm like, should I do that and then have to cut so much? Or do I just leave it running and see what happens? I don't know. I guess we'll just leave it running and see what happens. Because I don't know. I just don't know. Don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. But I will overthink it because I always do. I realized today, or this last week, or I was reminded to me that my trauma style is trying to control my environment. Like always trying to be hyper vigilant and control my environment because my childhood environment was not it was a little bit, it was emotionally volatile and not consistent. And so I just tried to learn to guess what was going to happen to keep myself safe. So I was always like scanning the environment. And I'm also ADHD, which means my sensitivities are like, I'm taking in more information all the time anyway, just because of how I am, how my brain is wired. And then just it kind of got intense. And so it never allowed my nervous system to regulate. And that has been unfortunate because when your body is not regulated and doesn't come back to regulation, then you end up being really you just stay burned out, and you also struggle to, and sometimes you can have some immune compromised situations happening. So for me, it was mast cell activation, and that is basically where your immune cells, your mast cells are so intense that they think everything is a threat, and then they just start, overreacting. And that's unfortunate because it means that things like normal things, even like foods and stuff, you can get like rashes. My allergies are really intense. I have to take a lot of allergy meds just to chill it out. And I understand that. Like, I understand that that is the process of being in fight or flight, just your body just staying in fight or flight. So in the past couple of months,
many months, many moons, I have been attempting to do things that regulate my system. And staying in that schedule of regulation and doing the things that are regulating for my body has been very helpful. And over the years, also with therapy and other things like being diagnosed for ADHD and having medication for that, all of this has been extremely helpful for me to kind of help my body stay in regulated state more frequently than not. And crapola. Well, you know what? We're just going to accept this as a mess, and we might cut a lot of spots, and we'll fix it. We'll fix it. It's going to be fine. So I've been trying to regulate my body more often. And the thing about that is it was going well when I had some sort of a schedule. So I had the kids out of the house in the mornings, and I could focus on some like creative projects and stuff like that, and have like some time in my brain that was quiet. And then the kids would come home and we'd work on some stuff. And then I was also not doing a ton of cleaning because I was doing an experiment to see if like taking away the intense like cleaning, the need to clean all the time, not feel like I need to clean, but wanting it to be clean and orderly as a form of controlling my environment, and wondering, and also burning out because I didn't have like the things that actually filled my cup up in my day, like creative time, like dancing, like going on walks, getting coffee, and socializing, all of these things that are really important for my regulation. And so I was doing that, and everything was feeling so much better. But I was also looking at the house and thinking, oh my God, this is like too much, too much. I'm overwhelmed entirely by the cleaning. And I need to clean it. Like it's getting to that point, and just trying to figure out what is the balance. Like what's the balance between cleaning, having a clean space, but not trying to over control or hypervigilate. Did I make up a word? Hypervigilate over your reality. And then like what's the balance? Like how do you do not all of it? How do you not try to accomplish everything, stay regulated in your body, balance all of it? And I think I'm hitting that wall where I'm like, when the kids got sick, right before the kids got sick, I was getting ready for a birthday party for one of the kids, and we were going to have some guests over, and I was like, oh my God, I've got to clean all of this. It's horrible. I want our guests to feel welcome and calm in the home. And so I spent like 2 straight days of just deep cleaning everything, deep cleaning, not just cleaning, but like going through things, organizing, straightening, putting things away, and doing all of this stuff. And at the end of it, I was completely exhausted. But like on the flip side, the feeling of having a clean house felt good, but I was so burnt out, it was also hard to do all of the things that were actually filling my cup. And then the kids got sick, and then I wasn't sleeping because I was up with the kids throwing up. And then so my sleep schedule got off, and the things that were regulating me, I didn't do as much anymore. I was doing more electronics because, just trying to get through the moments, because I'm a very in the moment kind of person. And so I wasn't doing meditation. I wasn't going on as many walks. I wasn't eating as well. And just like my regulation just kind of was like, what's happening? I am freaking out now. And then it just like, I felt like a lot more anxiety coming to the surface, which I haven't honestly felt in a long time. And I just thought that even though I don't have the answer to like, what is that balance? How do you balance those two things? Because God, it's a challenging question to like figure out, because it's not easy. It's not just cut and dried. Okay, well, this is the right amount, because everybody's different and everybody's world is different and everyone's responsibilities are different. And then it comes down to the fact that, it also, when you've been out of doing those things that regulate you, it's really hard to start back, because the anxiety is becoming a little bit more overwhelming and hard to control. You know what I think I'm going to have to do? This is so messed up. We're just going to have to cut it. I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to cut it. It's a big mess. So sometimes you just have to start over, start fresh. And I think we're going to scrap these. And we're just going to, ouch, no. It'll just be a little shorter. That's what we'll do. Okay. So this is without hemming it, so it's still pretty cropped. And I can't button these because the buttons, I covered them, but I've not really done that, and the fabric was really thick. So you would need to have like a larger buttonhole for it to go over. And I don't, because, you know, I just did it from another, because this is just the original buttonhole, so it's not working exactly right to button. So that's, I think, where we're at right now. I really love the sleeves. They feel very cool and fun. But I think I will just try to do a little hem stitch across the bottom very lightly. Honestly, this doesn't really fray that much, this fabric. So I wonder if I even have to, but I think it might look better if I just do a very tiny little roll stitch. Perhaps I think that might be the best option. So let's see how that looks, and then we can look into styling. I will say that working with stretchy fabric, although it can be good for fit, it is also really tricky to sew with. It's tricky. Practice situation. Yes, this feels good. This feels really good to get back into this. It's so crazy. It's like I need it. Like, it's like not eating for 2 weeks. It makes me sad to not do art. And just think of not doing your art your whole life because you think that you have to be perfect first. And then just the process of doing it is like the energy that, you know, it's the gas to make your car go. The petrine, what is it? Petrin? I'm not sure. I can't remember in German. I haven't needed to know that because I don't drive right now. Don't drive my car because I don't have a car anymore. Okay. Let's go ahead and see what we can do with this edge, and then we'll be done. Going. Shit. All right, let's try this again. I feel like the tension is too much. Better? This is gonna be all roughly, isn't it? Okay, this is the finished product. It does look better. It kind of, with the rolled hem, I don't know if you can see it, but it kind of looks like a lettuce edge hem, which I think is cool. So that's what it ended up turning out like. I like that kind of detail. It's just kind of like a little ruffle, and then the sleeves on the inside, I basically finished out the inside. So it doesn't fray as much. I should have done that before, but we eventually get it done. But that is this one finished. But yeah, I mean, I like it. I think it's pretty comfortable. It's still not too short if you have higher pants. And it's not exactly a crop top, so I think it fits anyway. And I think we're gonna call that good. We're gonna call it done. Done, done, done. Thank goodness.